It's time for the X and Y Show with your host, Mr. Roosevelt. He talks about man topics, lady topics, and relationships. He talks about love, sex, and infidelities. He even gives good tips. There is no other show that compares to the X and Y Show.
Oh yeah. Sit back, take your clothes off, and relax. It's time for the X and Y Show, where real relationship issues are talked about and addressed. The only place on the planet that tackles the topics that everyone wants to talk about, but no one is brave enough to address. Nothing escapes X and Y, baby. Now, here's your host, Roosevelt Colbert.
Well, welcome to my X and Y listeners. As I said before, I'm going to start with a little bit more of other folks' perspectives on different things and other things that affect marriages and relationships with different people. And some of the things that I wanted to do is bring different people in and talk to them and get their point of view on certain things. Now, there's something I always wanted to talk about, and I never had the opportunity to talk about it because I never did it. And so I just wanted to talk to someone who actually practices the lifestyle. And that lifestyle is the swinging lifestyle. That's something I've always been curious about, especially when I was younger. But as I grow older, I don't know if that's particularly right for me. And it's not right for everybody. So it takes a special type of person to be a part of that life. And with that said, I have two swingers here today talking to me about that particular lifestyle. I want you all to welcome my fellow podcast host of the Front Porch Swinger podcast. Be sure to check that out. I'm going to give you information on that after the episode. But welcome Brian and Brenna to the X and Y Show. How you doing?
We're doing great. How are you, Roosevelt?
Doing well. And, I just want to say, Brian, I look up to you because, you're a fellow man and you getting all this pussy. And, it's like, it seems like that's a man's dream. So I just saying, I really look up to you.
Well, I appreciate that. And you're right. I get an inordinate amount of pussy. I'm a lucky man.
And Brenna, you too, but I can't say congratulations and give him a dick. That just wouldn't sound right. You know what I mean?
No, but thank you anyway.
All right. So I want to talk about the swing lifestyle. What got you two into the swinger lifestyle and how long have you been doing it?
So we have been swinging for probably 6 months now. So it's still fairly fresh and new for us. I mean, we know people that have been doing this for decades, and we're not there yet. I think what mainly got us into it was we had the most open and honest conversations about sex and about our relationship and kind of where we saw it going. And even kind of like our fantasies and things that we wanted to experience with each other. And it became very evident in those conversations that both of us had fantasies of watching the other person with other people. So it was kind of this awesome realization that we both wanted the same things at the same time.
Yeah, and also we should say, Roosevelt, we shared our past experiences, our past relationships, our failed marriages and failed relationships. And for me and for Brenna, this is the first time that we've ever had a fully open, honest, the ability to be fully open and honest with our partner. And in doing so, it really just lent itself to being, really it's just a revelation of how freeing it felt, how good it felt to be able to tell your partner what you really wanted and didn't want out of a relationship. And in doing so, it lent itself to us dipping our toes in the water. And it's been great.
And I hear you. I hear what you're saying, but I'm speaking from now a personal point of view. Now, me, all of my girlfriends, I've never been married, but all of my girlfriends that I've had in the past, I definitely did not want them fucking somebody else. I mean, if they did it when I didn't know, that's fine. And I'm sure it probably happened a couple of times. But I mean, to do it willingly, that's something that would fuck with my head and it would actually get me angry. And I understand that swinging lifestyle is not for everybody. But how could you want to see your woman fuck somebody else? Could you really go into that with me? Because that's something I always wanted to know. How could you be there while your other woman's getting fucked? I mean, literally.
So, the two biggest components to this lifestyle and to mine, our relationship, mine and Brenna's particularly, is communication and mutual respect. If you don't have those two things, those two components are essential in this lifestyle, period. So from a communicative standpoint, you have to both be on the same page and you've got to have a mutual respect. We don't, for lack of a better term, we never take one for the team. If one of us is not interested in a particular couple, then we don't participate. So it's never a situation where I am either forcing a situation to take place or Brenna is forcing a situation to take place. If we are not completely on the same page, we don't move forward with it and we politely decline. As it pertains to what it takes to want to see your woman with another man, here's the deal, man. It's, my woman is sexy and we have an insanely intense sexual relationship between us. So what do you do to intensify what is already hyper intense? You got to take it to the next level. And while you're having sex with your partner, you don't always get to experience that from the outside. Obviously, you're entrenched in it, right? You're in the middle of it. You're in the heat of it. I know what she sounds like. I know what she feels like. I know what she smells like. I know what she tastes like. But seeing it from the outside is just another level of intensity for me. And what this relationship and this lifestyle does for us is it intensifies our sexual relationship. We had an experience last night with a new couple we met, a few weeks back, had some dinner, had some drinks, met them last night, and we fucked this couple last night. And I'm here to tell you, man, as hot as that sex was, nowhere near as hot as the sex when she and I get home. I mean, that's just the bottom line. We barely are able to get home before we're all over each other. It's just another level of intensity. It's difficult to explain until you've experienced it,
And Brenna, what's your outtake on that?
Same thing. I mean, I think the way that we refer to it is it's the pre-show before the main event. Swinging and being with other people does nothing but magnify how amazing our sex is together afterwards. So it's never a substitute. We're not out there searching for sexual encounters with people because we're not finding what we need with each other. It's a heightened experience. And it's always amazing and it's just fun.
Well, the other thing you got to remember, Roosevelt, in this whole thing, man, the most important component to any relationship, obviously the communication, the mutual respect, it's trust, right? So what is the highest level of trust? I mean, you said it yourself, potentially partners in your past maybe stepped out, right? That's a level of, you break that level of trust, man, there's just nothing left. And to have your significant other be with another person and enjoy it, obviously you enjoy that experience as well, but then you guys are going home together and you're reliving that experience together. Once you've allowed your partner to experience someone else in the midst of your relationship, there is no other higher level of trust. Nothing else matters after that. And if you can live that way and experience it and enjoy it and revel in it, there are no more trust issues, man. There are no trust issues between Brendan and myself in any capacity. There just aren't any.
Wow. Yeah. That's deep because, I hear you talking, I hear you and Brenda talking, but I guess, speaking, and I know you met a lot of people that's like me. I just can't get past the physical, and that's just hard for me. But I guess, you guys only been doing it 6 months, so it takes a while to build up to that as well. And that's something, that, a lot of people are not willing to even try or even experience. So,
Well, we're a unique couple in a lot of ways. First of all, we have a 20-year age gap. I'm 48, Brenna's 28. I have been married and divorced 4 times. Brenna has 1 divorced herself. So between us, we've got 5 failed marriages. I come from a world of adult entertainment. I was an executive with one of the largest adult entertainment management companies in the nation. I have a lot of experience in that background. Brenna and I have experienced the BDSM lifestyle separately as well as together. We play in that world as well. We are just like-minded. We have some unique chemistry between us that even people in our lifestyle that we have found in the swinger lifestyle really can't wrap their heads around. We're just on a different level. We finally found each other, and it just works, man. I got to tell you, it's special.
Wow. That is special. And it's, would you say it's unique? Because, I know there's a lot of swinging couples across the nation, but, I've heard some horror stories, about the swinging and somebody get jealous and, all this shit happens. So your situation, would you say is a little unique from other swinging situations, or just a little different, or how do you rate yours compared to other couples?
Well, it's just like any regular relationship, any what we call vanilla relationship out there. I mean, you're going to have amazing ones and you're going to have horrible ones. Same thing in the swinger lifestyle. We have found that we've met people that swing, the couples that swing, that are doing it for all of the wrong reasons. They're doing it because their own sex lives together are not what they want it to be. Or they're doing it because they see it as a way to keep themselves together as a couple. If that's the reason you're going into this lifestyle, from our perspective and from what we have experienced, it's just not going to work. So it's just like any other type of relationship out there. It has to be built on a strong foundation. And if it's not, it's going to crumble. Got it.
I hear you. Okay. Now, what are your requirements for you see a couple and you say, oh man, he's cute, or he's fine, or whatever. What are your requirements? Is it purely physical, or a little intellectual, or a little both? Or what are your requirements to where you actually choose a couple, or actually see a couple that you might want to get with? What are your requirements?
Well, it's funny that you should ask that, because in our previous lives as, single people, before we were with each other, dating and having sex with people and things like that, it was a lot of physicality for both of us. We were constantly looking for the hot guy or the hot girl. And in this lifestyle, we have found that doesn't matter as much. We want to enjoy people on an intellectual level. And I think even more importantly than that, we have to feel a certain level of friendship, complete platonic connection, separate from a sexual connection. Which is also different. I mean, a lot of people in the lifestyle, it's about the physicality, and that's fine too, but that's not what it is for us.
Got it.
Yeah, for us, Roosevelt, we have played with couples to this point where, under normal circumstances in our former lives, might not necessarily have been, completely attracted to these people. But once you get to know a couple, you realize that you're like-minded, you share some of the same likes and dislikes. And you just hit it off, over drinks and over dinner. And all of a sudden, something happens. There's this chemical reaction. You start to have a little flirtatiousness. Brent and we're always hands on each other anyway. But when we're with another couple, it seems to be intensified. When we start to really kind of enjoy talking to a couple and being in a couple's presence, we'll start really kind of being handsy with each other and can't take our hands off of each other. And that's how we know that, we're at that point. We're all horned up, man. I mean, we're ready to go. And so, yeah, like Brenna said, the attraction has to be there, but it's really on an intellectual level, a platonic level. You have to be able to want to have drinks and have dinner. Go to a show with a couple just as much as you want to have sex with them. All those components have to work, which is different, right, from the single lifestyle. If you're a single man, a single woman, you're not necessarily thinking about those things when you meet somebody. It's like, oh, how hot is he or how hot is she?
Right. We
don't look at it that way. It's really like, do we like these people genuinely? If we weren't going to have sex with them, could we have dinner with them and enjoy them? That's the first thing we ask ourselves.
Now, that's something different. That's something that I didn't expect to hear. It's like, basically, can you interact with these people outside of the bedroom? Because I thought it was purely sexual, this type of relationship. But, I'm finding that what you guys are saying, at least with your situation anyway, that is not purely sexual. You have to have a platonic relationship with them and interact with those people and actually essentially like them. It's not just fucking.
Exactly. Our very first couple that we ever swapped with they've become, they will probably, I hope, be lifelong friends. We're going to the same concert as them coming up. I would be shocked if we, don't do other things with them, vacation with them at some point, things like that. It's just a friendly thing. And if sex happens, great. And if it doesn't, that's okay with this particular couple too, because we just genuinely like them as people.
Well, and like you just kind of touched on it, Roosevelt, just a few minutes ago. you had people like, and yourself included, obviously a lot of people have a hard time wrapping their heads around watching their significant other have sex with someone else.
Yeah.
Well, so take that to the next level, right? You're going to allow your significant other to have sex with someone. You got to like that person, man. Before a guy gets near Brenna, I got to be able to have a drink with the guy and talk some shit with him. If I don't like him, he's not getting anywhere near her. You know? And a lot of people they get this concept that we just run around having sex with people indiscriminately. Fuck no, man. If I don't like the guy, man, he's not getting anywhere near my woman. It's not going to happen. You know, and people think that it's okay to sometimes take liberties when they find out that you're a swinger and kind of step out of bounds and be disrespectful.
Right.
You know, that's the last thing I'm going to allow. You know, there's no disrespect in this lifestyle. You'll find that couples and for the most part, the singles that are in this lifestyle are uber respectful of each other because that's what the basis of it, you know. Somebody gets disrespectful, you know, they get put in line.
Right.
You know, it's not okay.
Okay. All right. I hear you. And that's something, you know, even, you know, if I met you two one day, you know, I'm just speaking hypothetically. I might meet you guys. Who knows? But
Sure.
If I met you guys one day, you know, I know you two are in the lifestyle, but, you know, out of respect, you know, I would not approach Brenna, you know, trying to fuck her. You know, I just wouldn't do that. But, you know, I guess, you know, there's guys out there different, you know, and they don't give a fuck about all of that. But, you know, for me personally, and not just you guys, any couple, I couldn't see myself trying to fuck somebody else's lady, you know. So I guess, you know, it goes back to, you know, that thing about being able to like somebody and experience new things and want to take your relationship to a different level and being able to handle that. You know, a lot of people can't handle it. Basically, that's what the bottom line is. A lot of people can't handle it. And,
and for us, we believe, I mean, for our situation, again, is maybe different from a lot of other people's. We know it is. But, you know, if you have a strong relationship, your relationship is based on mutual respect and communication and trust and obviously deep, deep love for one another. You know, then you can approach this and be comfortable and really be successful with it for sure. But to go to and back to what you just said in terms of you being a single guy and you approaching a couple, for example, I mean, I get pretty passionate about it. Brennan and I talk about it all the time. We do interact with single guys. You know, our first experience in the lifestyle was with a single guy that Brennan was with. I was in the next room, didn't participate, just kind of listened and watched a little bit. And it was, you know, just super hot to watch my woman in that capacity. We entertain single guys. A lot of couples don't. We do. But I'll tell you, as a single guy, you're held to a higher expectation, my friend. You know, there's a lot of single dudes out there that would like to be in this situation. And like you said, you know, you couldn't imagine yourself walking up to us and just kind of, you know, hitting on Brenna. You know, you want to get, I'll give you a piece of advice, free piece of advice from the Front Porch Swingers. You're a single guy. You want to fuck my woman. You better come up and shake my hand and introduce yourself to me. And you talk to me first.
Oh,
that's just how it works.
Okay.
Because you're not going to get near her if you don't. You know, it's just the code, man. You know, you're a single dude in the lifestyle. You got to be super fucking charming, man. You got to be charming. You know, you've got to elevate your game. And you know, Brenna will tell you herself.
All right,
that's true.
All right, I hear you. So come through Brian first. That's the key.
Yeah, man. You got. Yeah, I'm the gatekeeper, brother.
All right, I hear you. Now, I was going to ask you, do you guys do the single guys? So you answered it. You do single guys. Now, how about single women? I would assume you do that as well. You're not just couples.
Well, there's a term for them. They're called unicorns, and they are few and far between. So we have not experienced a single woman yet, but we are very hopeful that it will happen someday, for both of our sakes. Although I doubt it would be the exact same type of a situation because I think we would probably, in a perfect world anyway, both play with this woman. So. Oh,
so you say unicorn, that means they're extremely rare.
Oh yeah. The rarest of the rare. Absolutely.
Yeah. They don't come around every day.
Oh, wow. Okay. Now, I didn't know that.
No,
yeah, I thought that.
Listen, by ratio, man, it's 100 to 1, maybe more. 100 guys to single guys to one single woman. It's a huge ratio.
Well, we also live in an area where it's like 3 men for 1 woman. So,
right.
It's
that doesn't count.
You know, it's just one of those Yeah, one of those things that it doesn't lend itself to a lot of single women interactions, but I'm totally open to it and would love to see Brian with another woman, just a woman.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Now, quick question. What if that woman, in your mind, looks better than you? Well, I'm just speaking hypothetically, What if she,
That's awesome.
oh,
If he can pull in a hotter chick than me, kudos. I'm going to give him a huge high five.
I mean,
Yeah, and well, listen, man. I mean, we talk about this to other people all the time, right? People, vanilla folks will say, "Oh, well, I don't know how you guys can do that. What if, how do you want your significant other to fuck somebody else? What if she really likes it?" Well, shit, man, isn't that the whole fucking idea that she really likes it? Why would I want her to do something she doesn't like to do? So, if I'm going to pick out a single guy for her, and I have before, man, I try to find the best looking dude I can find. Why would I not? What do I want to see her fuck some ugly dude for? What sense does that make?
Oh, even when we're out, I'll point out hot women and be like, oh, look at her. She's amazing. I'm the one that initiates that. So, yeah, it's just a different dynamic than most couples have.
Yeah, I mean, for me, there's no one more beautiful than Brenna. I mean, our relationship is thus that if we decided tomorrow, she decided, yeah, listen, I don't want to participate in this lifestyle anymore. Cool. Then it's just her and I. I mean, that's just the way it is. This isn't about trying to find somebody more attractive. There isn't going to be anyone that I'm more attracted to. So that's never going to be an issue. This is simply the cover charge. Us sleeping with another couple or Brenna with another guy or myself with another woman. It's the cover charge to get to a heightened, situation for us personally, a heightened sexual experience for us personally. That's all it is.
All right. I hear you, man. I hear you. That sounds good too. That you guys are really into each other. So I like that. I really like to hear that. Now, how many couples do you guys have dealings with? Just on average in a month. And when I say dealings, I'm talking about like all the way, like sex. How many couples do you have interactions with in a month per se?
We probably one.
Yeah.
One a month.
This weekend is unique. We actually we met with a couple last night that we've had a connection with before, and we had sex with that couple last night. We actually, once this interview is over today, we're meeting another couple that we will have drinks with for the first time, which is unusual. 2 couples in a week, that's a lot, particularly in a town like where we live, where there's about 40,000 population. So that's not the norm. Now, if you want to find single guys, you could, throw a stick and you can hit a single guy that wants to participate with a couple. But actual lifestyle couples, in the past month, probably 3.
In the last month? Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's a fluke, right? It's not usually that. Okay.
Yeah. No, that's unusual. And in a lot of big cities, in metropolitan areas, that's not. It would be more probably a higher percentage. For us in a smaller community, the lifestyle where we live is very much kept quiet. It's very underground, so it's not as not as prevalent. So yeah, 1 a month would be about right.
And we're selective. I mean, like we were saying earlier, we're not just looking to throw it at anyone that wants to catch it. That's not a thing for us. We want to enjoy the people that we're with, and therefore there are couples that we have turned down.
Yeah, we could have had more interactions for sure, but we've passed on a number. We've passed on more than we've played with. How about that?
And what were some of the reasons that you passed? And the guy was an asshole, or he was stupid, or the girl was stupid, or what was some? Just give me some of the reasons you passed.
The most recent one was just a lack of chemistry with them. They were very nice people, and we enjoyed sitting and talking with them, but there was no chemistry. I couldn't see myself being sexual with him and Brian with her. So that's one reason. I would say some other times it's just a personality clash. We kind of have large personalities, and so there are times when we aren't going to mesh with the people we're meeting, and that's totally fine too. But we're not going to play with them if we don't want to sit and talk with them.
Yeah, and it'd be even before we get to the point where we're face to face with these folks. Sometimes, Roosevelt, you're communicating, and I should say Brenna does most of the digital communication. I don't really communicate with anybody until we actually get to meet them. That's kind of, I leave that up to her. And I think it's better that that the women kind of communicate within the couples. And a lot of times it's simply a communication piece. They're whether they're kind of distant or difficult to communicate with or flaky. You meet a lot of flaky couples in this lifestyle. We just don't play that way. We're open and honest and upfront, and we tell you what we're looking for, tell you what we're not looking for. And if you're not willing to do that, then we probably aren't the right.
Okay. And has it ever been a time where you met a couple and maybe Brian really, liked the chick, but Brenda was like, no, we're not going to do them. Brian, have you ever said like, damn, has it ever been a situation where either of you liked the other person, but the other one wasn't feeling it?
Not necessarily that way, not where we've kind of seen a couple and I said, wow, the woman is really super attractive and Brenna wasn't attracted to the male or vice versa. We have actually played with a couple where we were in the same room on the same bed and we had two very different experiences because the woman of that couple, I guess you could say, just kind of had buyer's remorse, man. She was really put off by how attracted her husband was to Brenna. And it came through very, very vividly. So, based on that experience, we will probably not interact with that couple again. It made for a very uncomfortable situation. And that's happened a couple of times in both both ways, where the male of the couple kind of had buyer's remorse, or the female had buyer's remorse afterwards. We've experienced that for sure.
But in terms of us being on completely different pages with the couple, that doesn't really happen. I think we do a good enough job of vetting them ahead of time that we know ahead of time before we meet them if it's going to be a match or not.
I got you. Okay. Now, it is 2018, and one of the things that scares the shit out of me, this is one of the reasons why I have very selective about who I fuck and all that kind of stuff. But it's not just fucking nowadays. It's all kind of shit. You kiss somebody, a lot of people think you wear condoms, you're safe. But if you're eating pussy, you're licking ass and all that kind of shit. Like some of the things I do. But,
yeah, us too, man. We're all about it.
So it's, a lot of things, a lot of people say, if you wear a condom, you're okay. It's okay. But a lot of shit you can catch with a condom. A condom is not 100%. Just shields you like a damn Superman shield or some shit. So my question is, even if you guys wear condoms every time, which, I'm assuming you do. I don't know. I'm going to ask you that in a minute. Even if you do wear condoms every time, there are other shit out there that you can catch with a condom. So speaking from a person on the outside, why would you expose yourself even more to STDs? When you're already in a relationship, you can be pretty much safe or whatever. Why would you take the chance on catching shit on an outside rendezvous?
So, first of all, I'll say that I would be willing to bet that we have fewer sexual partners than many, many single people out there. So the fact that you're asking us that, I got a question. Is that because of the stigma around swinging, that we're just running around fucking everyone? The fact that we know these people on a friendly level and are talking to them and understand that, the vast majority of people that we play with are professionals. These are, they're very distinguished people. They are very well respected in our community. It's not as if we're not the type of couple that's just going to go into a sex club and have sex with, 4 couples in a night. That's not a thing. Right. So I actually think we're probably safer than a lot of single people out there in that regard. Plus we're having an immense amount of communication with these people before we ever see them naked or before we ever, swap body fluids. So.
Well, and, you got to remember, Roosevelt, again, we're in a small town. Both Brenna and myself work in relatively high profile jobs based on where we live. The folks that we interact with are much the same. They're professionals in many, many cases. They're family people. The couple we were with last night, they've got little girls, man. They've got kids. We don't play with random dudes who we haven't vetted. We don't ever play unprotected. And like Brenna said, we have a lot less sex than most single people because of how selective we are, and for some of the reasons that you just outlined.
Well, with other people, we have a lot of sex with each other.
With each other, yeah. Our personal sex life is fucking insane. We've already had sex twice today, so it's we're on a whole nother level, man.
Now, I hear what you're saying, but still, with those people even though they're families, and stuff, you still don't know, right? So, I mean, how could you, a lot of people speak from the outside, like myself, even though, you're vetting people and stuff like that, but you still really don't know. So is it really worth, I guess what I'm trying to ask, is it really worth it? Is it really worth the risk of putting yourselves out there?
Is the juice worth the squeeze? Yeah, for us it is. Absolutely. We're intelligent people. We're healthy. We've been tested. Matter of fact, we're both probably due again for for a medical checkup anyway. And I'm fucking old, man. I'm 48 years old. I got to go to the doctor occasionally get my, get that hernia checked out or whatever. So, you got to stay diligent, for sure. But, I look at it like this. We're a loving, committed couple, and we're together regardless. So we're going to have a whole lot of sex between the two of us. If we can meet some like-minded folks, we can share an experience, people who we believe are on the same page and are of the same opinion in terms of the safety standpoint of this, then yeah, for us, the juice is worth the squeeze. All right.
And what's your take on that, Brenna?
Yeah, I mean, same thing. I don't think there's ever 100% certainty that you're not, putting yourself at risk. But so does that mean that everyone should stop fucking anyone anytime ever?
Yeah, it's not going to happen, man.
It's just not going to happen. So it's about minimizing the risk, right? And it's about being intelligent about the choices that you're making with your body. And I feel like both of us together are very diligent and careful.
Yeah, listen, Roosevelt, I'm old, man. I made it through the 80s. I'm good.
You're not that old, man. You're not that old. You're still good. You're good.
Yeah, everything works fine, man. I'm in great shape for a guy my age. But like I said, I made it through the 80s. I feel like I'm ahead of the game.
All right, I hear you. Okay. Now I want to ask you something. Speaking from a societal point of view, when people look at swingers, a lot of times the guy doesn't get scrutinized, right? I mean, the guy is like, "Oh, good, go get him, man. You're a real pimp, and go ahead, man. You're doing good." But on the other side, they look at the woman as being a slut, being a hoe, everything negative. Mm-hmm. So, speaking from a societal point of view, a lot of people say, Brenna, that, you're just, you're a silly hoe who's being manipulated by Brian. I'm just speaking, that's not how I'm thinking, but, society. They're thinking you're just a silly hoe. You're being manipulated by Brian into this lifestyle. We know you don't want to do it, Brenna. So why are you letting Brian talk you into this shit? All Brian wants to do is fuck other people, and he's convincing you that it's okay. What do you say to people like that?
I have so many things to say. First of all, I don't see slut as a negative term. It's a term of endearment in my book.
Exactly.
Second of all, a couple of things in terms of just us personally. I was actually the one that initiated the conversations about being non-monogamous. So I always bring that up to people because I think even in the lifestyle, when we talk to people, they assume that Brian is the one steering the ship. Completely the opposite. I'm the one that brought it up. I'm the one that initiated all of the discussions about it. And I'm also the one that does all of the communicating. So any of the, swingers dating sites that we're on, Twitter, all of that, I am the one doing the communication, and I'm the one really directing how we go in this lifestyle for two reasons. One, because Brian feels more comfortable with me being the one to kind of, take on that responsibility as the woman, which I think is incredibly progressive and awesome of him. But also because in this lifestyle, typically women are the ones that are actually making a lot of the decisions. When when we communicate with a couple, I am almost always communicating with the other female of the couple for that exact reason. It's almost like a showing of respect from the male to the female in the couple of, hey, we're going to make sure that you are 100% comfortable with this. We're going to make sure that, you feel good with the way that the direction that this, interaction is going in. So I think that's the biggest thing is that in this lifestyle, it's a very woman-friendly environment, which I think is awesome. But in terms of how people see us from the outside, I hope that changes one day. And I think that it is changing in a lot of ways. There's so many studies out there right now. We just posted one on Twitter a few weeks ago about How there's this misconception that men are so much more sexual than women. Not true. Study after study shows that women actually have equally as high sex drive as men. But from a societal standpoint, we're expected to, stuff that down and not be as sexual, not be as open, which is bullshit. And really hope that changes and continues to change, I should say.
Yeah, Roosevelt, let me tell you, man, straight up, in this lifestyle, the women run the show. Anyone who tells you different is absolutely incorrect. They're not knowledgeable, or they're full of shit. All the women in this lifestyle, they run the show, man. I mean, there's no question about it. We don't make a move, Brenner and myself, without her 100% direction and consent. I take a back seat. I follow her.
That's something I didn't know. So Brenner's the pimp. She's manipulating Brian.
Yeah, man.
I am.
Listen, I got news for her. First of all, Brenna's a freak, number one. Number two, anytime we're with a couple, she's the instigator. She's all of 5'1". She's a tiny, diminutive little thing. She doesn't look like she's going to cause no trouble. She starts everything, man. She starts it all. If there doesn't seem to be any movement in the room, you can be rest assured she's the one that's going to stoke the fire. Believe me.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, she's all about that. So I'm the little.
That's something I
she's
definitely
crazy.
didn't know. That's something that I've learned today. I didn't know that. And I'm sure a lot of other people don't know that. They assume that the guy's running shit. This is not.
No. Yeah, hell no. Listen, if guys in this lifestyle, when they're married to a woman and they're in this lifestyle, they're in a committed relationship and they're in this lifestyle, they're the luckiest fucking dudes on earth. And if they're smart, they just sit back and shut up and let the women run the show, because you're going to get laid a lot more often doing that, I believe. Promise me. I believe.
All right. That sounds great. Always good to learn something new. Now, one last question. I'm going to let you guys go. Now, speaking from another point of view, you guys are just in a committed relationship. You're not married, correct? So I'm going to ask both
correct.
of you a certain question. Just give me an answer. Just throw it out there. Just want to know some shit. So speaking from an outside person, Brian, since you guys are not married,
yes.
And what if you guys, because it's possible, you guys can get with a couple and Brenna, she sees like he's Superman or some shit, Green Lantern or something. I mean, he really does everything for her. And he does some shit that you're not doing or you're incapable of doing. And she's totally into this guy. So since you got married, she might say, Brian, fuck off, go fly a kite or something. I'm going with Ken. What would you say to that?
Well, let me say this. First of all, we are as committed a couple as any couple that I've ever known. And again, I'm 4 times divorced. I never had a relationship that was as committed as the one that she and I are in. We have very different views on marriage. Our views are simpatico, but by most people's standards, they're very different. And we can talk about that if you want at some point. However, so let me put this in perspective for you. Couple we were with last night on the ride home, Brenna told me this guy's fucking cock was enormous. She could barely take it. And it was a funny conversation that we had. So if she ain't leaving me for that dude, I feel like I'm in pretty good shape. So, I like hearing when she's satisfied, when she enjoys her interaction. We've had experiences where she wasn't super happy or I wasn't super happy with the interaction. That's terrible for either of us. We don't like to hear that. I am in no way, shape or form, however, concerned that she's going to leave me for someone else, based on anything, whether it's a performance based or emotionally based. I'm confident in our relationship. I'm not concerned about it. And the truth of the matter is, whether you're married or not, that could happen to you. Mm-hmm. So, that piece of paper doesn't mean shit. I'm confident in our relationship and our commitment to one another. I just don't see that.
All right. And Brenna, what about you? What if you get with a couple and Brian's like, I really dig her and, good pussy. She got a good mind. I like her mind, her conversation. And I like her better than you. So go fly a kite. I'm going with Barbie. What would you say to that?
Well, I don't think he's choosing Barbie. She doesn't have enough booty for him. So I think we're safe there. But No, I completely agree with what Brian just said. This is by far the most healthy relationship I've ever had. And I know how lucky I am. I know that I'm never going to find something like this again, where I have all of my needs met at all times, which is really what Brian does for me. He's the most selfless, kind person I've ever met in my entire life. And, no sexual interaction is going to ever trump that. So it's not even something that enters.
Wow. Okay. That sounds great. All right. So in departing, what would either you say your last remarks on getting someone, not to necessarily practice the swinger lifestyle, because it's not for everybody, but what would you say for everybody? Like, it's not what you think is actually good. It's not a bad thing. We're just doing our thing kind of thing. What would you say to someone on the outside? Give me some partner remarks.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. It's not for everyone. However, I think that the people that judge this lifestyle and that think negatively of it should really ask why. What we have found is that a lot of people are insecure in their own relationships, and therefore they can't wrap their heads around the idea of seeing their partner with someone else, which is a problem. I mean, not that they don't want to see their partner with someone else, but just that level of insecurity in relationships. And we feel very strongly that comes from a lack of communication about what it is you want and what it is you need in your relationship. The fact that we've been able to do that every step of the way and be 100% honest with each other is the reason that we can be in this lifestyle and be very happy in this lifestyle. I don't know, what do you have to say about it?
For me, Roosevelt, it's pretty simple. If you don't think it's for you, then it probably isn't. If you have an inclination that it is, you need to be completely 100% communicative with your partner. Most people are, like Brenna said, they're afraid to have this conversation with their partner. Listen, man, we're human beings. We are sexual creatures. We are not meant to be monogamous. It's not how we're built. And if you can't have that conversation with your partner, that's a much bigger problem. And you got to be able to communicate. So for those folks who are thinking about it, reach out to people like us. There's a lot of us out there that will have a conversation with you and talk to you candidly about it. But certainly you've got to have an open conversation with one another first. And if one of the partners is not 100%,
all right,
then you got to take a step back. It's not going to work.
Yeah, I would also say that one of the things that we've absolutely loved about doing our podcast and being on Twitter and being involved with people is we've heard from a lot of people who, thanks to listening to our podcast or others like it, are finally having the conversation with their spouses that they should have had a long time ago. And that's so rewarding for us. We just feel we're thrilled about that.
Yeah, because what we're doing we started this whole thing, Roosevelt, because we wanted to bring awareness to it. We don't want to live in the shadows. Brennan and I do not. There are a lot of couples in this lifestyle that we've met, and some that we haven't, obviously, that really do keep a low profile. They don't want to be seen in public. It's a very kind of low key thing. Our faces are all over. You'll see us, man. We're on Twitter. We're on our blog. I don't give a shit, nor does Brenna, what anybody thinks about us. I challenge you to question our relationship. For us, it's about bringing awareness. We don't want to.
Sounds great, man.
It's not.
And
okay.
Speaking of getting out there, I know you guys are fellow podcast hosts. You have a show called The Front Porch Swingers. Tell everyone where you can hear that, and give me your Twitter and all of your social media.
Yeah, thank you so much. We are on Twitter at FP Swingers, or obviously you can search Front Porch Swingers. Our podcast is everywhere. We're on Stitcher, we're on iTunes, we're on Spotify. Basically anywhere you listen to podcasts, if you search Front Porch Swingers, we're going to pop right up. And if you want to contact us directly, we love getting messages from people. And we're at mail, M-A-I-L, at frontporchswingers.com.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining me, Brian and Brenna, or Brenna and Brian. I don't want to be, sexist or anything. Yeah, man. I had a great time too. And I've learned some shit myself, and not that I've ever looked down on the lifestyle, but it's some things that I was very ignorant about. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to someone and get it directly from the horse's mouth. So I appreciate you guys coming on the show. And hopefully one day we'll meet at a X and Y convention or a Front Porch Swinging convention or something like that. Who knows?
Absolutely, man. We're looking forward to it. Just make sure you come up to me first if you want to get lit. Don't forget.
All right. I remember that. All right, guys, you take it easy. Appreciate it.
All right.
Later.
You've been listening to The X and Y Show with your host, Roosevelt Colbert, the place where real relationship issues are talked about and addressed. Join us next time. You can now put your clothes back on. Or not.